Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Scarlet Derby Streams. My name is Brainy the RPG Cat, and I am here once again to do another substitute stream while the Derby is off on spring break. And so he has very kindly given me the opportunity to test out one of the types of shows that I am going to be doing on my stream, which is going to be at twitch.tv/Brainy the RPG Cat. I am going to regularly be doing streams where I write RPGs. And so, just using Microsoft Words, and I'm talking. Hollowflower says, "Hi, Brainy." Hello, Hollowflower. Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. So, I'm going to be working on the Power Rangers role-playing game, which is a RPG that I'm going to be writing for yet another YouTube channel. This one is twitch.tv/KS Productions. I think I did that one right. See, I'll just click the link really quickly just to be absolutely sure. Twitch.tv/KS Productions. My web page is loading very slowly right now. Oh, I didn't have the name right, but maybe it was just without the hyphen. Alright. Twitch.tv/KS Productions. Let me double check that one. See, my browser is running really slow at the moment. Everything else is running fine, but my browser is running really slowly. Okay, so yeah, it's the second one. I apologize for putting the first one into the chat. But anyway, so twitch.tv, yeah, does the RPG have a Bulk and Skull class type? I've not played it yet. Well, it doesn't, but as you'll soon see, Bulk and Skull are not completely forgotten. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write this RPG, and so I'm just going to be doing it while I'm on the internet in real time. It's just, a way for me to actually get necessary work done and also stream for you nice happy people. So this is the Power Rangers role-playing game, and so this comes to us from Renegade Game Studios, licensed by Hasbro, and using the Essence 20 role-playing system. And so I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Essence 20 and how their role-playing system is going to work as I'm writing. I have a PDF of the game book, and so anytime that I want to reference something, I'm probably going to be pulling up the same reference on the same page, just so that there's something interesting to look at. So, so this is what I'm writing so far. I'm trying not to show. Oh, well, okay. I think I already messed that one up. So, this is okay. I have it written down as Power Rangers Lost in Time. That's not going to be the final name of the RPG scenario. I'm going to be using something else once it premieres on the other channel. And so, here's the overview. You're a teenager living in Angel Grove, but not the Angel Grove you might expect from other Power Ranger modules. Because you remember that Angel Grove as the setting of Power Rangers, a television series that ran for a long period of time with several spin-offs as you were growing up. You were quite a fan of that show as a kid, but you don't seem to think a lot about it anymore that you've gone on to high school. Your Angel Grove is a lot different. It's a simple, dull place where nothing ever seems to happen. You and your other high school buddies like to get involved in multiple school clubs, and you regularly hang out at Bulkmeyer's, a local pizza place and a community rec center. So this gives away a little bit of the first episode, so let me skip ahead a little bit. So this all sounds extremely familiar to you because this was part of that Power Rangers TV series that you remember watching. However, something is not what it seems, which was presented before you. You and your friends become the chosen ones, and Power Rangers destined to battle this mysterious version of Lord Zed. But the deeper you dig, the more mysterious this situation becomes. Yeah, Bulk Myers. So yeah, um, like I said, Bulk and Skull are not forgotten in my RPG scenario, and so so just give me a second, and I will read to you the kind of role that Bulk Meyer plays in this. All right, so episode 1, Park and Riot, part 1. You and her friends are getting ready for an annual event at your high school, the Angel Grove Physical Fitness Challenge. Every one of your high school's clubs are participating, including the karate club, which you and your friends are a part of. The winning teams will be getting an automatic passing grade in Phys Ed, a free pizza party at Bulk Myers, and a shiny gold trophy, which will be one of the first to stand in Angel Grove High's trophy case. Mr. Bulk Myers, a big sponsor of the fitness challenge, and he's let all of his students use his facilities to train. Here you go, kids. The absolute best gym equipment that 1994 has to offer. So this is my NPC, Farkas Bulkmeyer. You always thought he looked exactly like his namesake Bulk from the Power Rangers television show, and stranger still, he's talked about his past work as a police officer, a private detective, and a waiter at the old Angel Grove Juice Bar, which were all jobs that Bulk also had in the show. Of course, he has nothing to say about the Power Rangers. His hangout is the most popular in the city, and his pizza is the best in town as well. It's interesting why he promotes physical fitness so strongly. He's obviously not the most physically fit guy himself, though he does point to once holding a gold trophy for Angel Grove High's high school record in the deadlift, which he keeps displayed in a case in the front of the gym. So, this is an open roleplay section here. This is the physical fitness tests. Players have an opportunity to show off their specific skills. Everyone is working together to try to win the fitness competition. In addition to physical fitness skills, people can use speed, smarts, and social skills to pass the test. I wonder if Bulkmeyer was also an astronaut. It's kind of hard to say because I don't think he was technically an astronaut in the in-space season, but I have Professor Phenomenus in the back of my mind, and I'm probably going to be able to fit it in somewhere during this campaign. So, let's see. In addition to physical fitness skills, people can use speed, smarts, and social skills to pass this test. Story points will be rewarded. 1 to every idea the player characters come up with. And so there's a few typos there. The first time I typed this on my mobile phone, and I was using just a very tiny Bluetooth keyboard. So, forgive the typos right about here. Okay, so this is the first story point. Attack at the park. When everyone is practicing, a news story comes on the television. Weird gray people seem to be attacking the nearby park. They've knocked over park patrons, stolen their valuables, purses, watches, wallets, and bracelets. A group of them have cornered several small children in a rounded jungle gym, including Bulkmeyer's niece, Chloe, who is wearing a silver bracelet. You and your friends see the attackers and recognize them as Putty Patrollers. So, Putty Patrollers are page 210 of the rulebook. At least it was a physical keyboard, because virtual keyboards are terrible. Okay, so this is the Putty Patrollers page in the manual. And so I've just copied that and I've put it in this section of my, I gotta move my big chunky head so that you can see that. And so this is the Putty Patrollers that are in the manual. I just have their stats written down. As the story progresses, police officers arrive on the scene and then disappear in a bright flash of light. Bulk is getting increasingly worried about the safety of his niece, and there's no choice. We have to investigate. So the locals are scared. So while I do have the stats here, I did put a different description in this section. The locals are scared of the putties, but if you remember them well enough through the TV show, they're pretty easy pickings. They're trying, with great difficulty, to get to the children who hid in the dome-shaped jungle gym, particularly Bulk's niece Chloe, who has a silver bracelet that they seem to want. When you and your friends enter the battlefield, you immediately enter initiative against the putties. Defeating them gives you clues as to what you are searching for. immediately pointing to Chloe and the bracelet. This is a no-kill battle, and anyone who would lose 1 health from the putties is downed and can be arrived with another if another friend was be able to touch them. All right. Yeah, 1 hit and a putty goes down. Well, not quite 1 hit, but just a significant amount of attacks when the characters are still in human form. So, this is the next scenario. It's called Zordon Shard. Once the children have been rescued, or all of the putties are defeated, which is just as likely, Chloe approaches you and your friends and tells them that she thinks the putties were after her because of the bracelet she found. She gives it to the group, and as it so happens, it's a risk communicator, just like the ones from the TV show. You only handle it for a brief moment before you and your friends suddenly disappear. Once you can realize where you are, you find yourself in a neon-lit room with a large white crystal in the center of it. It is reminiscent of the command center from the show, but with the distinct difference that it seems very old and desiccated. What appears to be a large shattered crystal in the center of the room, it doesn't take long before this crystal starts speaking to you. It greets you and your friends and introduces itself as Zordon Shard. And so this is another NPC section. He has a large chunk of the space-time chamber the original Zordon was imprisoned in, left remaining after he was destroyed in the Genesis Wave. So the Genesis Wave was probably a plot point that came towards the end of Power Rangers in Space, where Zordon was shattered and his essence flew throughout the entirety of the universe, destroying all of the evil creatures and turning a few of them, like Rita, Zed, and Divatox, into good human people. He has gained sentience in the years that the chamber has remained dormant and formed into a massive crystal, but his powers are dissipating, and once he loses the last of his energy, he will disappear as well. He informs the group of the situation, and he has heard that a being has contacted him with new designs on conquering the planet. He claims to be Lord Zed, but he believes this cannot be possible because Zed was transformed into a good human during the Genesis Wave. In the middle of his explanation, he asks the group to activate a robot in the closet to begin the protocols of putting the command center back online. And so this is another NPC description. This is Alpha Beta. Alpha Beta is a prototype of the Alpha series robo units that have always been the Power Rangers' assistants. He behaves a bit erratically, something he describes as having a few screws loose. He brings the command center and the viewing globe back online. And so, as people know that, the original Alpha was voiced by, what is his name? Horvitz, Edward James Horvitz, I think, is his full name. And later on, he played characters like Daggett from the Angry Beavers, Invader Zim, and Billy from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And it's very likely that I am going to, when I NPC this character, he's probably going to be a lot like Billy. So he's going to be, and then he's just going to be a big goofball. Zordon Shard delivers the explanation that while the power has been returned to the command center, the internals of the building are still largely destroyed, and they lack a connection to the morphing grid, which would allow him to give the teens the power needed to transform into the Power Ranger forms they would need to combat Zed and his enemies. And so I believe, this is where I left off. And so the very next thing that I was going to do, so Hall of Fire says, as long as the teens have attitude. And I always wondered about that one, because Zordon always said that these teenagers have attitude, but it was also, they were the most squeaky clean teens in the whole world, doing battle against things like pollution and peer pressure and, nasty things like that. So this is the next section I was going to write. I'm going to write a section where there is a significant amount of player choice here, and so let me just get my hands on the keyboard. And so let's see. Zordon tells you and your friends that he is Yeah, they were the oldest looking teens too. Well, okay. Well, they were television teens. You know that they were supposed to be 16 or 17 on the show, but they were probably closer to 28. That he is able. Let me see. Zordon and his friends. Zordon tells you and your friends that he's able to detect a source of morphing energy that has been like 30s and 40s age looking teens. Yeah. So Zoran tells you and his friends he's able to detect a source of morphing energy that has been left in a chasm somewhere in the foothills. He would like to teleport you there, so you might be able to. Retrieve the source of energy. Well, let's see. So you might be able to retrieve the source and have a weapon to battle against Zed's army. So yeah, basically like that. And so once again, this is going to represent a split in what the player characters can do, and I'm probably throughout the rest of the night I'm going to spend the entirety of the time writing what the two options possibly are. So if the group accepts Zordon's mission, we will so we'll move on to the scenario, and the scenario is going to be called Hills of Clay. That's what the scenario is going to be called. If the group chooses not to accept Zordon's mission, we will skip to the scenario Brass Monkeys. That's what that one's going to be called. And so now I'm going to create titles for both of these, and I'm going to start to describe both of these scenarios. So let me scroll down a little bit. I've never lost control of a Word file before, and I'm not about to now. Alright, so first scenario. First scenario is going to be called Hills of Clay. And then second scenario is going to be called Brass Monkey. Okay, so in the first scenario, Zordon teleports you and your friends to a chasm in Angel Grove's foothills. He didn't actually lie about that. I am writing this as a scenario where the Power Rangers have to climb downhill and or in order to get a set of morphers, but then there is also going to be a group of putty patrollers that are climbing the hills in the upward direction, and that eventually is going to lead into a battle in the middle. And I'm also going to be setting it up so that I'm actually going to have a 3D map that I'm going to put together using a set of Gravitrex interactive track systems, hexagon based STEM gravity educational toys, and I'm going to be using that in order to build the downhill map. So so they need to a long steep chasm, 3D, yeah. And so, you know, once I get so pretty much this scenario that I'm writing right now is destined for YouTube. I hope I'm going to be able to get some good video recording of what the actual tabletop is going to look like, but I have bought the probably about 2 or 3 different Gravitrex sets, and and so I am fully prepared in order to use it to make a 3-dimensional tabletop. So they need to climb down a steep chasm to find the lost power morphers at the base of the hill. Alright. However, Zed is aware that they are in the vicinity and begin sending putty patrollers up the hill in order to stop them. Okay, simple enough description. So the steepness of the chasm requires the Rangers to move half their movement unless they make a successful I write it in order too much times, so I'll just write to stop them. Alright. Unless they can make a successful climb check, then they can take their full movement. At the base of the hill going upwards, the base of the hill going upwards, Zed summons 1 putty patroller for every full round of the group's downward movement. Inevitably, let's see. Inevitably, the putty patrollers and the teens are going to meet in the middle, and then initiative is going to begin. Let me not use inevitably in the actual file, in the actual Word file. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Okay, it's a Word file. Alright. So every full round of the group's downward movement, when a player and a party meet, initiative will begin. The team that makes contact with the party will get a preliminary attack, but after that, everyone will follow by dice roll order. Okay, so far so good. And so the battle will end when the players can get to the hex where the power source is. Okay, so let me see. Morphin, they quickly realize that the power morphers must be buried underground. And so I'm going to need to take a moment in order to check to see what the player sheet looks like. I think that there actually might be a skill for digging here, but I might be mistaken. Let me see. Strength, athletics, brawn, conditioning, intimidation, and might. Let's see. Speed, acrobatics, diving, finesse. Smarts, alertness, culture, science, survival, and technology. So, yeah. So, so in this game, you have the ability in order to choose specific stats that you use in order to do certain tasks, and it's very unlikely that anybody is going to actually choose digging as one of their strength stats. So let's see. They'll need one successful strength or survival roll to dig up the morphers. Let me see. I think I need to separate this because this is probably describing a completely different set of actions in the same round. If you need more material, be sure to write a Skull expansion or the Return of Divatox. Yes, I actually do have plans for both Skull and Divatox. So yeah, rest assured that, you know, I am definitely going to be bringing them into this game. So, you know, as part of my preparation for this, you know, I had bought a lot of die-cast figures that were, you know, just kind of sub-licensed from Hasbro, and they're currently up on Amazon. It cost me $25 to get something in the neighborhood of 40 die-cast metal figures, and I'm just really bent about the fact that, you know, one of them wasn't Divatox. I have a Divatox figure in a board game. I have it in my Heroes of the Grid board game, but unfortunately those are a lot bigger than standard Dungeons and Dragons figures should be. So I'll just have to wait to see how that shakes out. You know, they did have some pretty good villains. They did have Rita, they did have Zed, they did have Goldar, they had the Psycho Rangers, and like 2 of the Psycho Rangers. Is it possible to watch 30 seasons of the show plus all of the movies in preparation? Well, so far that I've only watched 2 different seasons of the show, and one of them was the original Mighty Morphin. The other one is, well, it was a dead giveaway from the title, because I watched a lot of Power Rangers Time Force, and so maybe, you know, if I get far enough in the Word document, I'll be able to show you exactly how those 2 are going to link. But, you know, it's certainly the reason that why I'm calling this Lost in Time. So after that, everyone will follow by dice roll order. Well, let's see. Okay. Getting the morphers. It's not a glamorous title, but it'll definitely work here. All right. Pick up the morphers. Once they, okay. Once the team is able to dig up the morphers, they receive a transmission from Zordon. Transmission from Zordon, who tells them to hold the morpher and shout, "It's morphin' time." So this should be the first in-game morphing section. And so part of the mystery here, and this is probably something that I'm probably not going to be writing here, but the thing is that while they are in a Mighty Morphin universe, the morphers that they have are actually Time Force morphers, and that's going to come into the plot in just a little bit. Alright. There's Morphin receives their morph stats for the first time. Okay. Then we proceed to the section Brass Monkey. You know, I'm not going to say Brass Monkeys plural anymore. I'm just going to go to Brass Monkey. Alright. So I'm getting a message that one of my that one of these is grammatically incorrect, but I'll figure out how to fix that later. Okay. Second scenario, Brass Monkeys. So while the group was with Zordon, or dealing with the previous scenario, you know, just either way, depending how time was passed. Lord Zed had created a monster. Using Bulkmeyer's deadlift record trophy as the base. This monster, is named Brass Monkey. So yeah, we're not just making vulgar jokes, kid. You know, there actually was a reason. And has the ability to turn civilians into brass statues. And I'm probably going to have to make a drawing of this at some point. And so, since we only have one Power Rangers book, I'm going to need to build original monsters based on simply based on the monster examples that exist in the manual. So there's only a handful that are in the manual right now. I believe they are starting on page 207. So let me go ahead and let me flip to that on the PDF. Alright. So, threats section, and so these are the monsters that they actually put in the manual. So, Chunky Chicken is threat level 5. The large version of him is threat level 9. They have Finster, which is really interesting because Finster is not really a character that's going to show in the main campaign because he's basically the monster baker. Okay, so Putty Patrollers, Z Putty Patroller monsters. I'm probably not going to use I'm not going to strictly use the Z Putties. What I'm probably going to do instead is that they have a few Super Putties that have 2 heads and 4 limbs in the Heroes of the Grid game, and so I'm going to be probably be piggybacking off of that and then giving them the Z Putty stats. Pineapple the Clown, which is a shape-shifting monster, on its own is a level 2, but after it changes into Pineoctopus, it turns into a level 4. Poluticorn, threat level 7. I think his picture is actually on the next page. Let's see what else. Rito Revolto. So I would be remiss if there isn't a Goldar in here. Slippery Shark is only a threat level 4. Unless he does get larger, then he's a threat level 8. Do they have another one for Rito Revolto? No, I don't think they did. Snizzard. So I remember Snizzard. Yes, always was probably one of the freakier characters designs in my opinion. And so, well, they just wanted a monster who had range, and it so happens that he had a bow and arrow. Tonsil Snakes. Spirit Flower. Well, Spirit Flower, threat level 3. A carnivorous plant monster with a tough organic armor-plated body. So I think that's what this monster is. I don't think that they have actually Tonsil Snakes actually comes from Snizzard, so that's like one of the tiny little minions that that monster has. Terror Toad, threat level 5. And then that's the end of the chapter. And so they chose a pretty strange selection of monsters. So let me see. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look for a monster that is actually capable of transforming things into other things, and I believe that it's going to be Pineoctopus. Let's see. So he has the ability to use cardboard powder. And so this isn't going to be the first this is going to be the first scenario where a giant monster battle is going to break out. And the way that the actual book writes it is that you have to be a level 3 character in order to actually be able to summon your Zord. So basically I'm just setting this up so that by the end of the scenario we can say that the cast is at level 3 and then we can go into a Zord battle. So So once again, okay, I'm backing off of the Pine Octopus build. Alright, so Brass Monkey. How did I do this with the Putty Patrollers? Yeah, okay. Number 12, Brass Monkey, threat level 4. I should have kept it open on book. Now I'm just looking at the PDF. Size large, health 6. So, you might be a little bit confused because the amount of HP that both player characters and monsters have is a lot lower than it would be in Dungeons and Dragons, but it works, you know, just kind of given the way that the gameplay hashes out. So let's see, size, large, health 6. Toughness 16, evasion 16. Alright. Willpower 10, cleverness 10. Let's see here. Ground movement 15 feet. These are some slow moving monsters. Alright, so let's see. Move on to abilities. Oh, he does have a skill list too. Skills, tardy D6. This is not something that I had to do with the putties. I think you can already guess that. Tardy D6. Might is a D8. I'll just put it down as melee. Then range. Let's see. So he has 3 attacks. One is energy balls, cardboard powder, and then vine arms. And so the cardboard power is what we're going to need simply because that's the transforming power that this monster is going to have. First attack is really just a simple range attack. I'm not going to waste my time with 2 energy attacks. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do something like this. Okay, Gleam, Beam. Yeah, you really get to use the rhyming couplets when you're writing for Power Rangers. Let me see, that's our range. 30 feet plus D6. Well, let me see, that's, yeah. Range, D6. much damage? 1 energy damage. Alright. And now let's get to the transforming power. So this is going to be turn to brass. And this should actually be something a little bit more like the Midas touch. So I'm gonna make it a melee. Melee D8. 1 energy damage. Well, let me see. What did they put? I don't know if they actually put a damage counter on this. Yes, they did. 1 energy damage. Effect. Oh, I almost wrote if Pine Octopus. Oh, geez, am I that obvious? All right. So let's see. B is a human being. They need to save based on their, I think it was a willpower score in this game. Let's see. So this is the list right here. Social, smarts, technology, driving, finesse, infiltration, initiative, targeting, might, brawn, let me see, animal handling, deception, performance, persuasion, or streetwise. Let me see. So I'm trying to pick out 2 stats for every single one of these. So I want to use strength, might, or speed acrobatics. So their might, strength, or speed, or speed. That's what it was. Speed. Or be frozen for 1. Well, let me see. One round. Probably 1 round just for the player characters. So let's change this from human being to player character. Be frozen as a brass statue for 1 round. This will not affect the players if they're morphed. So there's a 50-50 chance that the characters are going to get to this part of the game with or without their powers. But so things are definitely going to be a lot harder if they don't have their power morphers. At which Zordon will give them the opportunity to go back and do the other scenario. So I think I'm going to need to give them this. I'm just scrolling through the whole scenario scene right here. Trying to get back to the monsters. Okay, so alright, see, back to Pine Octopus. And then just give him a melee attack, which is what? Brass Punch. So, how about a nice Brass Punch? And so let's see. Yeah, Might D8. Well, melee D8 and then 1 energy damage. This is the first monster, so he can't be that strong. Let's see. Now I've got to go back to writing the scenario. Okay, so depending on whether the players chose to leave the scenario what was it? It was Hills of Clay. Well, depending on whether or not. Let me see here. As I'm looking up above, try to see if I should put this story section, this same situation up in the story section, but I'm not entirely sure if I should do that. So, depending on whether or not the players choose to complete the scenario, Hills of Clay before this one, they risk confronting Lord monster. Depending on whether or not the players choose to complete the scenario Hills of Clay, they risk confronting Lord Zed's monster without their morphing abilities. Will be immune to Brass Monkeys turn to Brass Attack. They are morphed. Alright. Let me see. Okay, so in the event that they come to this scenario first, Zordon Shard will offer to port them back to Hills of Clay. If a player is stunned before the rest of the team ports, they will need to wait one round. They can join the rest of the team. Alright. So whether or not is probably redundant. Alright. So let's see, depending, so monster is easily defeated. Well, this monster is easily defeated. Gosh, what did they use? They used for normal weapons. They used like pistol daggers. I forget what they're actually called. Dagger. Well, hang on a second. I know that's in the manual. Let's see here. Say defeating healing damage. Let's see. Say a weapon combat, not quite. Call to action. Yeah, I'm almost there. Storm Blaster, that's not quite it. I think that's actually vehicles.
Now connected to desktop 6K 3v3E.
Okay, so yeah, we've reached the part of every single one of my streams where my Echo just kind of blinks in and out of existence. I'm trying to keep it connected wirelessly to the computer, but it doesn't really seem to work out that way. Alright, so okay, here's weapons. Okay, so yeah, blade blasters, that's what they were called. That's all I needed. These monsters are regularly defeated. Rangers at this stage only have access to melee martial arts and ranged blade blasters. Alright. Let's see here. I think I tend to say that one a lot. Let's see here. All right. So the Rangers at this stage only have access to melee martial arts and range of blade blasters. Once the monster is defeated, Zed predictably goes into giant monster phase, but the instant that Brass Monkey grows to a towering size, the Rangers are teleported again. Okay. And so, I don't know if you're still watching, Alan, but this is pretty much where the Time Force section is going to come in. Alright, so enter Time Force. Ranger are so the Rangers are teleported to a mysterious place. They are demorphed, and then, well, okay, well, let me type that out. Okay, the Rangers are teleported to a mysterious place, a platform on top of a futuristic tower with surrounded by flying cars and a descending evening sky, just to put that atmosphere into that. Alright. Sky. They're so they are demorphed against their wishes, and immediately they are grabbed by several men in outfits resembling police uniforms. We got something like that. Okay, and okay, there. Okay, so there. So it's quite obvious that they're police officers, because then they handcuff the players and bring them into an office building. Let me see. So this is something I'm going to have to look up. What was the name of the commander in Time Force? See if my browser will open up. It's been sluggish all night. Let's see. Let me see. So, commanding officer in Time Force. Captain Logan. Alright, so just with that name in mind. Alright, so bring them to the office building. So one of the officers shouts, "Commander, we have located the We have located the violators. The commander introduces himself as let's give him a promotion. Time Commander Logan, and tells the teens that they are under arrest for unauthorized use of Time Force technology. And that is the end of episode 1. Alright. So far so good. This all amounts to one scenario that I hope that is more than likely going to last between 2 or 3 hours. It has a good amount of action in it. People will get their opportunity to fight some putties, morph for the first time, fight a monster. Alright, so we are going into episode 2 now. So I was scrolling up here because I needed to see how I was going to frame that. Alright, so episode 1. Okay, episode 2. Park and Riot Part 2. Because, this is Power Rangers. We like our 2-parters. Alright. Okay, so we are going to start by using Commander Logan as our next NPC. So Commander Logan was actually a character in Time Force. I don't think he had a lot of actual character development. He was often just the person who launched the Zords from the future into the past so that the Time Force was able to use them. So he's probably not going to have a lot here. So let's see here. Already in the future where Commander Logan is the ultimate authority in a perfect future, a perfect possible future where most evil has been eliminated in the universe. He briefly oversaw a ranger team that had to do battle with the criminal mutant, and I forget what the name of the main villain in Time Force was. So let me just look that up really quick. Okay. Alright. Ransik, that's what it was. Okay. But otherwise, he perfect peace. Let's see. So let's see. He is arresting you and your friends for taking the morphers from the crater, which happen to belong to Time Force officers. Oh. Let me see. Into Time Force officers. So this is another open role place. This is another open role play section. Okay, so you and your friends need to provide your alibi. To Commander Logan. Again. Let me try any. Let me see. Try any. Gosh. Try any tactic, including a tactic mostly through utilizing. Let me see. What was this? I'm in the index. I was trying to get to the player sheet. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let me see. What is smarts? Science, survival, technology. I thought there was something in here when it came to I think that has to be one of the write-ins. Using your streetwise persuasion or deception. All right. For deception rolls. I don't know how to spell persuasion. That's unfortunate. It's one of those words that you need to use as a cat. You need to say persuasion. Persuasion. Oh wow, I squished my body really good that time. As I gotta make sure that I never do this again. This is horrifying. You just see me as, you know, a melted pudding cup of a kitten if I come down here. Well, which is perfectly fine because people do consider cats to be a liquid. Anyway. Okay, but the most effective the most effective tactic is honesty. There's Commander. I almost wrote Commander Stone. Commander Stone is in a much earlier season. And is most persuaded by the fact that you found the morphers buried at the base of a hill, and you at the base of the hill. If you happen to if the players additionally mention Zordon Shard, this will pique a particular interest in Logan. Because he has heard of some lingering existence of Zordon still within the time stream, and he definitely wants to investigate that. Alright. So, depending on how well the interrogation goes, let's see, will inform the players that the morphers must have belonged to a group of Time Force operatives which went missing sometime just before the let's see, just before Ransic's crime spree in the past. Alright. Let me see. So yeah, there's a significant amount of plot points that connect you now directly to this moment, and I'm trying to see just how much should immediately be revealed, and so I'm just kind of searching my brain for that at the moment. Let's see. So those operatives went missing. In addition to the the operatives, the Zords that they were using so the Zords that they were using also went missing. So went missing. Now that Logan has the morphers back, he needs to consider how he is going to reclaim the Zord in the past. The missing Time Force Zords in the past. Alright. So he decides to set the players free, but informs them not to go too far while he meets with the rest of Time Force to discuss this trying matter. Alright, so another open roleplay section here. Okay. So the teams are acquitted, but they are left in the you know, I missed a message way back there. As Patcho Black said, Alpha Beta, I remember those grocery stores. Unfortunately, I didn't, because I never lived anywhere near where there was an Alpha Beta. Alright, so let's see. Future with No Way Home and no... They are... Well, better than to say left. They are stranded in the future. Oh man, no morphers. Alright. So, you know, my mind is reaching back to the episodes of Time Force that I watched, and I'm trying to think if there was, like, anybody particular in the past that I could possibly use to do for this next section. Okay, so they have been Pawn, Time Force, Officer, and gosh, what was the main cast name? I need to finish Time Force. I need to figure out where everybody was when that was completed. Well, I'll just look at the wiki at this point. Alright. Let me see. Was this the Jen Scott? I think so. I think this was Jen Scott character. So I know Jen Scott because she is largely tied up in the Power Rangers Shattered Grid, which is the main plot line in the Power Rangers comic books. And so let me see. Yeah, so this is the Jen Scott season, so I'm going to use her here. Jen Scott's. They happen upon Time Force officer Jen Scott, who takes a bit of pity on them and offers to show them around in the future. So just like the open roleplay section in the last section, I do want to reward. Reward player points for this one. Let me see. Okay. So story points will be rewarded to every Power Ranger who... Yeah. Okay. Will be rewarded for to any player who... And what's the best way to put this? Is it to who looks into their own personal interests and how they've changed the future. Additionally, okay, and so then I'm going to need an NPC for Jen Scotts. Okay. So, and so, you know, it's really just going to be passive information. She was involved in that messy business with Ransik in the past, so at this point she considers herself to be the resident expert on modern day Earth. Doesn't want to give up too much information. She doesn't want to give up too information because of Time Force protocols, but and so she is, but she does talk quite a bit fondly. Fondly about her fiance. Wesley. Well, who was the Red in Power Rangers Time Force, by the way. That's the thing. I need to go back and I need to make sure that I finish Time Force, because I'm not sure that this is actually the ending that we got. But, you know, I'll go back and I'll change that if I'm sorely mistaken. Let's see. So, after a good amount of time has passed, Commander Logan calls the group back to his office. Let me see. He has a bit more information about what happened to the last Time Force team. But it's grim. As it turns out, you and your friends come from an Angel Grove in an alternate universe. There's one of thousands of universes which were seized by one of the greatest threats known to the Power Rangers. Known to the Power Rangers. Gosh, what was his name? Lord Draken. For those of you who don't know, Lord Draken is the main villain of the Power Rangers Shattered Grid story arc in the comic books, and in all honesty, he's Tommy Oliver. He remained evil. He had both the green and the white Power Rangers abilities, and he eventually usurped Rita Repulsa and just created one kingdom that had Power Rangers from multiple alternate universes as his slaves and as his minions. So this is really just kind of folding in two continuities at this point. One of them is the continuity from the comic book, and the other one is Time Force. Alright, so let's take a look here. Okay, so Lord Draken is known to have eventually been defeated, but his reign of terror across multiple alternate universes has affected the timeline so greatly. His the effects can still be felt in multiple eras of the past. So how's this for exposition? And only in the second episode too. Alright. So let me see. So Commander Logan wants to Commander Logan hopes to interest the team in a possible so I want to say experiment, but I think that might be a little bit too harsh. Team in a possible trial. No. Not trial, because they're not going to trial. They've already been acquitted. Let's see. Commander Logan hopes to, in a possible... interest the team in a possible partnership. That's probably the best way to put it. So if what the teens said is true, then a remnant of Zordon still exists in their past, and Time Force wants to preserve that reserve that to try to create a try to try to repair timelines that have been shattered by Lord Dragon. Alright. So he offers. Oh, okay. So he offered to give the teens to give you and your friends back the morphers. And send you back to Angel Grove with a single mission. With a single mission. And so this is the bang moment right here. So the single mission. Form the Megazord. Alright. So time for a new scenario block. Okay, so make my monster grow. Alright. So I'm still going to have to go back, and I'm probably going to have to write a significant amount of information about how Megazord battles work in the role-playing game, and I'm going to need to add it to what I'm currently writing, but just for the time being, I'm going to work on writing the scenario. Alright, so let's see, we got monster grow. So so you and your friends are transported back to Angel Grove. Angel Grove. Logan said that he sent you back to the exact moment when Brass Monkey, I need to go slightly back in the story here, when the presumed Lord Zed turned Brass Monkey into a giant monster. Good evening. Do you have a favorite Power Rangers episode or movie? Well, in regards to seasons, I think my favorite season was actually season 2, which was the introduction of Lord Zed, and also the introduction of the White Ranger and the 3 new Rangers. That was my favorite season of the original show. When it came to the movie, my favorite movie was the original one, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. I've never seen Turbo. I did see the rebooted film, and I thought it was okay. It might have deserved a little bit more justice than they got, but at any rate, so you know, I'm not too familiar with many of the other seasons. I did watch In Space. I did watch Lost Galaxy, and yeah, and I did see Zeo and Turbo, but you know, probably nothing that is too far beyond that. So since I'm running this RPG, I have been watching a significant amount of Time Force, and that's because Time Force is playing pretty significantly into the storyline of this game. So you know, and so I'm putting a significant amount of Mighty Morphin into this, but I'm, you know, also trying to play with the extended universe. I do have plans for other groups of Rangers showing up. So I think I'm good enough in the story. I think I'm far enough along in the story to just go ahead and divulge this part. Is that, you know, future episodes of this role playing game is really going to be about this group of Rangers traveling to areas of time that have been devastated by Lord Draken, and timelines have been messed up, and they've been put wrong, and they've been resulted into they've created unfortunate endings, and so it's going to be up to this Power Ranger team in order to fix those time anomalies. And so it's kind of like Quantum Leap. It's a little like Quantum Leap, but you know, it's Power Rangers too. And so, you know, I'm going to dive pretty deeply into the lore. So let's see. So well, what else can you do in this situation? Is that, you know, let me see. So I think I need to. So there's a plot point here, and so I'm just trying to figure out exactly how to squeeze the plot point into the very direct task of summoning a Megazord. So let's see. So your team has been given the instructions. They need to summon the Megazord. Given the instructions, they need to summon the Megazord, and a communicator link to Jen Scott's in the future. So she can record the whereabouts of. Or she can record where the Megazord is going to emerge. Record its whereabouts. That's the best way to put it. Lemojus. Alright, so, let's see. So, Ranger, so the team morphs, they call upon the Megazord. The team morphs and they call upon the Megazord. They'll just make that into one sentence. Alright. Alright, so Jen successfully records the lost Time Force Megazords emerging from an abandoned airplane hangar. Nearby abandoned airplane hangar, which she mentions seems odd, but thinks the team are going to need to deal with the monster first. Deal with a giant Alright, okay. So we're starting to create a setting here where you just basically where and how this team is going to operate, where their Zords are going to come from, what their command center looks like, all of the important things that are needed for a Power Ranger game. Okay, so once again, like I said, I'm going to have to go back into my book, and I'm going to have to analyze the basics of how a Megazord battle is going to go. So I'm just going to just cheese it right now, and so I'm just going to write Megazord battle goes here. Alright, so then let me think about the next scenario, because I think this next scenario is going to need a title too. Let's see. Okay, so where the where the Zords are. So yeah, this is the title of the next section. And your friends demorph and meet up with Jen in the meet up with Jen at Bulk Myers. Alright. Well, let's see. You and meet up with Jen. Jen says that she feels hungry, and you decide to treat her to a victory pizza from Bulk Myers. Alright. Alright, let me see. While you're taking a break you begin to discuss where the missing Zords came from. Jen shows you her video footage of the abandoned hangar when Bulk Myers shows up. He looks at the video, and he looks at the video, suddenly turns a bit pale and sweaty, and hightails it away from the table. All right, so. So this is going to lead to like an investigatory section, which is probably going to take up a good amount of this next episode. So there's a significant part of me that doesn't want to, spoil the next open roleplay moment, and it's also getting to the end of 2 hours. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off for the night. So anyway, so this was my test of a new type of VTubing that I hope to be doing. This is a new VTuber format that I have been playing around with, and I think I consider it to be a big success. I got to tell you a lot about the story that I'm currently working on. And I'll get the opportunity in order to, write some more modules and give you some more stories and, show you a little bit about, what I do in order to put together a role-playing game. And so, I'm going to be announcing where this game is going to get played, pretty soon. I mean, shortly after, I begin to launch my own channel, which is going to be twitch.tv twitch.tv Brainy the Gamer Cat. Brainy the RPG Cat. Yeah, I should actually give the actual story. I should give the actual name of my upcoming channel. But anyway, so like I said, I think this has been a great success. This is going to make up the bulk of what I'm going to be doing when my new channel opens up at the end of this current week. It said bulk. I said bulk again. Anyways, thank you very much for tuning in once again to the Scarlet Derby streams. Like I said, is that pretty soon we're going to be transitioning over to the Brainy the RPG Cat channel. And I'm going to be your host for that. I'm Brainy the RPG Cat. Aren't I adorable? So anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. Those of you who are watching Twitch, please stay tuned for a raid. But for everyone else, I will see you tomorrow, most likely with the second part of my playthrough of Final Fantasy on the NES. Either that or I will come up with something just as fun to do. I might play Baldur's Gate. I might, have another RPG stream to do. I haven't decided yet. But I will decide by tomorrow night. But anyways, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a magical evening, folks, humans, and human variants. Good night, everybody.